Mr. Maurizio PELLEGRINI and Mrs. Daniela RIZZO. Sorry, it's very hard to switch already from the presentations. And they will tell us about foreign important illegal proceedings of archaeological looting. I hope that
Good morning. I would like to thank the organizers and of this conference for inviting us and all the Latvian authorities for welcoming us. Paolo Giorgio Ferri is the magistrate who in 1997 began a tough fight against the illicit trafficking of cultural heritage, continuing it steadily until 2020, when he absolutely left us. With General Conforti, around the mid-1990s, started one of the most prosperous periods of Italy in the field of combating the illicit trafficking, making our country one of the most active nations in this field. We have had the honor of working with these two great personalities, and today, in examining the main points of the Nicosia Convention, we will retrace very briefly the long work carried out and why they were unknowingly the forerunners of the principles of the 2017 Convention. The first very important objective that the Convention has set itself is to prevent and combat the illicit traffic, issues that are particularly felt in a country subject to clandestine escalation and the serious damages that result. The worst period experienced by our country was between the 60s and the 90s, 30 years during which thousands of archaeological finds were plundered from our sites and illegally transferred abroad. The first breakthrough occurred in the 1995 when a search carried out at the free port of Genoa at the warehouses of an Italian trafficker, where about 3,000 objects and a huge archive were traced. And the subsequent investigation revealed the real extent of the phenomenon, highlighting for the first time the pyramid of illicit trafficking. On 2001 in Basel, where about 8,000 objects and a huge archive were seized, in which all the illicit activity was traced from 60s to 2000. That had led to intertwine economic ties with the best-known traffickers from all over the world, and included grave robbers, transporters, restorers, brokers, university professors, custom employees, and museum directors. These important archives form the starting point for the recovery of the goods illegally exported, and all the major investigations deriving involved important museum and stroke, in part, the chain of the trafficking. Foreign museums stopped their purchases on the illicit market and began to equip themselves with tools suitable for ascertaining the origin of the finds, and for a long period, clandestine escalation in Italy were drastically reduced. The first thing our Ferry did was to create a staff of experts who worked with him, made up of detectives and archaeologists, always the same people, so that the experience gradually was added, and it was always possible to weave together facts, names, places and dates. In those years, General Conforti began to organize annual international conferences which were attended by magistrates, police forces and experts from all over the world, not only to take stock of the situation of each foreign country, but to create bonds of collaboration for exchanges information and ideas to fight illicit trafficking. Thanks to the friendly relation created, it was easier to follow the various proceedings and to bring to fruition the numerous international legal requests. On 2006, thanks to a seizure made in Greece, Paolo Ferri started a close collaboration with the Greek judiciary, police, and one archaeologist, Christos Tsirogiannis, joined the staff and still today continues to work. The international collaboration is today in the objectives of the Nicosia Convention. Innovative for us is the article number 4, which obliges the states to identify illicit excavation as a crime, provided for the article number 3, in violation of the laws of the country where it is carried out. The identification of clandestine excavation as a crime was one of the most difficult obstacles to overcome, especially in those states where this crime doesn't exist. In Geneva, Caesar, hundreds of objects were dirty, in fragments, wrapped in Italian newspaper, and in fruit boxes on which was written Servatory, fruit and vegetables. Servatory is the word the Roman scribe comes from. We spent 5 years to convince the Swiss authorities that clandestine excavation in Italy was equivalent to theft. Another crime we would like to focus on is Article 8, because the form of placing on the international market adopted are many and very articulated, as we were able to discover. Like, for example, with the laundry through the Sotheby's in London, the trafficker, with the collaboration of 2 employees of the historic auction house, sent the object to sell and then bought back them, aiming to make the possession legitimate and to fix the price. And with supplying major museums with illicitly sourced artifacts through private collection, after displaying them in major exhibition in the same museum to legitimize them. Almost all museums have come across the complexity of Article 9, except the so-called producer ones, such as Italy and Greece. Museums are buying from the market to enrich their collection. Some examples of documented forgeries were discovered in the Caesar in Malta. The famous Kuros purchased by the Getty on the 1985, which aroused so much controversy because it was considered a fake, the statue was sent to the museum with some documents to guarantee its authenticity and provenance. The origin resulted from a wealthy Swiss family as early as 1930, confirmed by 2 letters signed by a German scholar, Ernst Langlos, and an antiquities dealer, Hermann Rosenberg. In 1985, however, also the curator of the Getty Museum stated that the documentation was counterfeit, sparking an endless controversy. But in the trafficker archive, we found 2 sheets of the letterhead used for Rosenberg letter blank, with only his signature at the bottom. In the illicit market, it was not difficult to forge documents. This is a sales document written on the headed paper, Fritz Burkin and Son. Burki was the trusted restaurant of the Robert Tech, the Greek international dealer, who sold the Furnace crater, and he is also a frontman for him. The sale receipt was written and signed in his name directly by hand on Burki's letter, as emerged by comparing this document with other writings by hand, as we did during his trial. The Nicosia Convention provided in the Article 5 and 6 for serious crimes with which Italy has often been confronted. The trafficker from Geneva definitively sentenced to 8 years and 10 million euros for damages. Always used the same person, employees, at a free port to get the materials in and out. That expert was a restorer who worked for both the trafficker, herself owned a large collection of Etruscan metallic items, and co-founder of an important association that created archaeological exhibitions and publications. Closely connected to Articles 5 and 6 is the crime of acquisition, stated in the Article 7. Recently, for example, the New York District Attorney's Office made a lawsuit against a well-known billionaire collector who owned in this immense house thousands of archaeological finds purchased for the most part on the illicit market. Some of them belonged to the traffickers already prosecuted by ferry. 180 objects were seized, and for the first time, the collector was formally warned not to purchase further antiquities. Finally, we cannot omit mentioning the most serious crime which the Convention places in the Article 10. Professor Riccardo Elia from Boston University has estimated that at least 10 Napoleon tombs are destroyed to place a single prestigious object on the market. Disconcerting images in the Geneva archive document a clandestine excavation carried out in one villa of the Vesuvian area, where the grave robbers identified 3 walls frescoes of a room brutally cut off in panels from easier transport. The frescoes returned to Pompeii, but the villa has not yet been identified, certainly destroyed, a symbol of the very serious damage caused to the cultural heritage by looting. Another striking damage to a unique archaeological masterpiece coming from Puglia and returned by the Getty is evident in the Polaroids found, in which you can see the precious polychrome marble sculpture broken into 3 parts to facilitate transport in the trunk of the car. The Nicosia Convention should be signed and ratified by all states, building a partnership direct, rapid, and without bureaucratic and parochial obstacles. Partnership that allows the state to contact a museum or an archaeologist or of another nation for request wherever its cultural heritage is in danger. If we don't unite in this fight and don't lay a virtual safety net over the world's cultural heritage, illicit trafficking will move to where the laws are softer and the states is easier written. Thanks.
So, thank you very much. This was very inspiring and sad at the same time.